From a bullied fat intern to the billionaire CEO's bride, no one saw this coming. Mia knew the whispers would start the second she stepped into Pinnacle Enterprises, the fat intern, the charity hire, the girl who didn't belong. For 6 months, she had swallowed the insults, endured the sneers, and worked twice as hard for half the credit. But tonight, everything changed. A single email from Alex Bennett, the ruthless billionaire CEO, flashed across her screen. "Meet me. Urgent." Her heart pounded as she made her way to his private office, the city lights casting eerie shadows against the glass. The hallway was empty, unsettlingly silent. Then, a movement, a flicker of something just beyond her vision. A sharp thud sounded behind her. Mia whirled around, but there was no one there. And then she saw it. A note slipped under the door. The ink bled like fresh wounds. "You don't belong here." Her breath hitched. The walls seemed to close in. This was more than office bullying. This was a warning. And she had no idea who wanted her gone. Or why. Stay till the end, because this story is packed with unexpected twists. Have you ever felt like the world dismissed you, like your voice didn't matter? What would you do if fate flipped the script entirely, pulling you from the shadows into a spotlight you never dreamed of claiming? Welcome back to the channel, my beautiful story family. Before we get started, I want to let you in on a little piece of me. Making these stories is a labor of love for us. We put our heart into those tales, crafting something meaningful and valuable, stories that, hopefully, leave a message about love, hope, and kindness. One of the things I love most is hearing how our stories resonate with so many of you around the world. So, please drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. It always warms my heart to see the diversity of our growing, supportive community. Now, let's step into this wild, breathtaking journey together. Mia adjusted the straps of her oversized blouse as she stepped off the elevator, the sleek glass doors hissing shut behind her. The 47th floor of Pinnacle Enterprises buzzed with the hum of ambition, phones ringing, heels clicking against polished marble, and the low murmur of voices sealing multi-million-dollar deals. At 24, she'd fought tooth and nail for this internship, a golden ticket to a world she'd only dreamed of. But as she shuffled toward her cubicle, clutching a stack of reports, the whispers slithered through the air like a cold draft. "Look at her waddling in. Can you believe she got this gig? She doesn't even belong here," a voice sneered from the cluster of suits by the coffee machine. It was Lauren, the leggy brunette with a razor-sharp smile who'd made it her mission to remind Mia of her place. Beside her, Chad, the self-proclaimed office charmer, smirked into his espresso. "Yeah, I mean, what's next? Hiring the vending machine?" Mia's cheeks burned, but she kept her eyes on the floor, her steps steady despite the tremble in her knees. She'd heard it all before, the jabs about her weight, the snickers about her thrift store clothes. 6 months into this internship, and the shine of her dream job had dulled under the weight of their cruelty. But she wasn't here to fit in. She was here to prove something, to herself, to her late mom who'd worked double shifts to send her to college, to anyone who'd ever dismissed her. She slid into her chair, the creak of it loud in the sudden hush of her arrival. The cubicle was a cramped island of solitude amidst the sea of glass-walled offices, her only company the flickering monitor and a wilting potted plant she'd named Harold. She opened her laptop, fingers flying across the keys as she dove into the latest financial analysis Alex Bennett, the elusive billionaire CEO, had requested. At 38, Alex was a legend, ruthless, brilliant, and untouchable, a man who'd built Pinnacle from a garage startup to a global empire. Mia had only seen him once, striding through the office like a storm cloud, all sharp jawline and piercing blue eyes. He hadn't even glanced her way. The hours bled together as she worked, the numbers on her screen a lifeline to drown out the chatter. Around noon, Lauren sauntered over, her perfume a cloying wave. "Mia, sweetie, you're on coffee duty today. Don't mess it up. Alex likes his black, no sugar, and scalding hot." She tossed a crumpled $5 bill onto Mia's desk and turned away, her laughter trailing like a taunt. Mia clenched her jaw, shoving the bill into her pocket. Coffee duty, filing, photocopying. The grunt work they piled on her because she was the fat intern, the easy target. But she stood, smoothing her skirt, and marched to the break room. The machine hissed as she brewed Alex's coffee, her hands steady despite the knot in her chest. She'd do it perfectly. She'd do everything perfectly. Back at her desk, she was halfway through a revenue projection when Chad's voice cut through the air. "Hey, Mia, you gonna finish that report or just sit there daydreaming about donuts?" The room erupted in laughter, a chorus of hyenas circling their prey. Mia's fingers froze on the keyboard, her throat tightening. She could feel their eyes, judging, mocking, waiting for her to crack. "I'm working," she said quietly, her voice a thread of steel. "Unlike some people who spend all day gossiping." The laughter faltered, Chad's smirk twitching. "Whoa, feisty today. Careful, don't strain yourself." He leaned closer, his breath sour with coffee. "You know, if you moved faster, maybe you'd fit in better." Mia's vision blurred, but she blinked it away, focusing on her screen. She wouldn't cry. Not here. Not for them. She channeled the hurt into her work, her fingers a blur as she finished the projection ahead of schedule. It was flawless. Every decimal, every trend line, a silent middle finger to their doubts. By late afternoon, the office hummed with a new energy. Word spread like wildfire. Alex Bennett was coming down from the penthouse suite for a rare floor visit. Mia's stomach flipped as she straightened her desk, smoothing her hair. Maybe he'd see her work. Maybe he'd notice. The elevator dinged, and there he was, tall, broad-shouldered, his tailored suit hugging him like it was stitched onto his frame. His presence sucked the air from the room, conversations dying as heads turned. He moved with purpose, his assistant trailing behind with a tablet, barking orders. Mia shrank into her chair, her heart hammering as he approached the cluster of cubicles. "Lauren," Alex's voice was low, commanding, "where's the Q3 analysis I asked for?" Lauren flashed a dazzling smile, tossing her hair. "Right here, Mr. Bennett. I had the team pull it together." She handed him a sleek folder, her confidence unshakable. Alex flipped through it, his brow furrowing. "This is incomplete. Revenue projections are missing. Who's on this?" Mia's breath caught. That was her work, her projections. She'd emailed them to Lauren an hour ago. Before she could speak, Lauren's voice rang out, smooth as silk. "Oh, I think Mia was supposed to handle that part. She's been distracted." All eyes swung to Mia, a spotlight of accusation. Alex's gaze landed on her, sharp and unreadable, and for a moment she forgot how to breathe. "Is that true?" he asked, his tone clipped. Mia's mouth went dry, her pulse a drumbeat in her ears. She could let it go, let Lauren take the fall later when the truth came out. But something snapped inside her. 6 months of swallowing their venom, 6 months of proving herself in silence. She stood, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. "No, sir," she said, her voice steady despite the quake in her legs. "I finished the projections and sent them to Lauren at 2:17 p.m. They're on her desktop, labeled Q3 Final." A murmur rippled through the room. Lauren's smile froze, a crack in her perfect mask. Alex's eyes narrowed, flicking between them. "Show me," he said, stepping closer. Mia's hands trembled as she logged into Lauren's system, thank God for the shared intern password, and pulled up the file. There it was, time-stamped and pristine. Alex scanned it, his expression unreadable, then handed the folder back to Lauren. Next time, don't waste my time with half-finished work, and give credit where it's due. He turned to Mia, his gaze lingering a beat longer than necessary. Good work, he said, the words simple but heavy with weight. Then he was gone, striding back to the elevator, leaving the room in stunned silence. Lauren's face twisted, her eyes flashing with something dangerous as she leaned close to Mia. You think you're smart, huh? Enjoy your little moment. It won't last. Mia met her stare, her chin lifting. We'll see. The day dragged on, the tension thick enough to choke on. Mia stayed late, double-checking her work, her mind replaying Alex's words. Good work. It was the first time anyone here had acknowledged her, and it lit a fire in her chest. But as she packed up, a shadow fell over her desk. Chad, arms crossed, his grin sharp-edged. Word of advice, newbie, he said, his voice low. You just pissed off the wrong people. Lauren's got friends upstairs. Watch your back. Mia's stomach dropped, but she forced a shrug. Thanks for the tip. I'll manage. He chuckled, walking away, and Mia was alone with Harold the plant and a gnawing unease. She'd stood up for herself, earned a nod from Alex Bennett himself, but at what cost? As she rode the elevator down, the city lights blurring beyond the glass, a question lodged in her throat. Had she just painted a target on her back? The doors slid open, and she stepped into the night. The parking garage was a concrete maze, dimly lit and silent save for the distant drip of a leak. Mia's car sat alone in the far corner, a beat-up hatchback that stuck out like a sore thumb among the gleaming sedans of her colleagues. As she fished for her keys, a flicker of movement caught her eye, a figure near the pillars, half hidden in shadow. Her heart jolted, but when she squinted, they were gone. Just her imagination, she told herself, shaking it off. Still, her pace quickened, the jangle of her keys loud in the stillness. She slid into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and exhaled. Maybe Chad was right. Maybe she'd stirred a hornet's nest. The next morning, the office buzzed with a different energy. A corporate gala was scheduled for that evening, a black tie affair at the Grand Meridian Hotel, a chance for Pinnacle to flaunt its power to investors and clients. Mia had been roped into last-minute prep, her inbox flooded with tasks from Lauren. Double-check the guest list. Print the seating chart. Don't screw this up. No, please, no thank you. Just orders barked through cyberspace. By midday, Mia's desk was a chaos of papers and sticky notes, her nerves frayed. You're coming tonight, right? It was Priya, the only co-worker who'd ever offered Mia a genuine smile. She perched on the edge of Mia's cubicle, her dark eyes warm. You deserve to be there after all the work you've put in. Mia hesitated, tugging at her blouse. I don't know. I don't exactly have anything to wear to a gala. Priya grinned. Don't worry, Mia. I got you. Against her better judgment, Mia nodded. By 6 p.m., she stood in Priya's cramped apartment, staring at herself in a full-length mirror. The borrowed dress, a deep emerald gown, hugged her curves in a way that made her feel powerful, not exposed. Priya had worked magic with a curling iron and a touch of makeup, and for the first time in months, Mia didn't recognize the woman looking back at her. You're a knockout, Priya said, adjusting a stray curl. Own it tonight. The Grand Meridian glittered like a jewel against the city skyline, its ballroom a sea of champagne flutes and tailored tuxedos. Mia lingered near the edge, clutching a glass of sparkling water, her palms sweaty despite the air-conditioned chill. The room thrummed with laughter and clinking glasses, the elite of Pinnacle mingling with ease she'd never master. She spotted Lauren across the floor, radiant in red, her arm looped through Chad's as they charmed a group of investors. Mia shrank back, feeling like an imposter in borrowed finery. That's when she saw him, Alex Bennett, cutting through the crowd like a blade. He wore a charcoal suit that seemed to absorb the light, his presence magnetic. He was alone, no entourage, just a tumbler of whiskey in hand as he surveyed the room. Their eyes met for a split second and Mia's breath hitched. He walked towards her. "Enjoying the circus?" he asked, his voice a low rumble as he stopped beside her. Up close, he was even more imposing. Broad shoulders, a faint scar tracing his left eyebrow, and those eyes that seemed to see straight through her. Mia swallowed, forcing a smile. "I can't believe I'm at a gala. I still feel like that awkward intern who spills coffee on her first day." Alex's lips twitched, a hint of a smile. "Awkward. I see someone with incredible potential. That merger analysis you turned in today, it's sharper than half the execs here could manage." Her cheeks warmed, surprise rooting her to the spot. You read it already?" "I read everything that matters," he said, taking a sip of his drink. "You've got a mind for this game, Mia. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." They fell into conversation, the noise of the gala fading as he asked about her work, her ideas, her life beyond the office. His questions were sharp, but his tone was warm, disarming. She told him about growing up in a small town, about her mom's late-night diner shifts, about clawing her way through college on scholarships. He listened, really listened, and shared snippets of his own story. A childhood in foster care, a relentless drive that built Pinnacle from nothing. There was a rawness to him, a depth she hadn't expected behind the billionaire facade. "You're not what I thought," she admitted, emboldened by the champagne she'd finally sipped. He raised an eyebrow. "And what did you think?" "Cold, untouchable, the kind of guy who doesn't notice people like me." He leaned closer, his voice dropping. "I notice more than you think." The air between them crackled, a thread of something unspoken tightening. For a moment, Mia forgot where she was, forgot the sneers, the isolation, the weight of her insecurities. But then a voice sliced through the bubble. "Her? Seriously?" It was Chad a few feet away, his words slurring slightly as he leaned into a cluster of suits. "Bennett's slumming it tonight. Guess even billionaires have a charity case." Laughter erupted, sharp and cruel, and Mia's stomach plummeted. She caught Lauren's smirk from the corner of her eye, a gleam of triumph in it. The room tilted, the chatter amplifying into a roar in her ears. Alex's jaw tightened, his gaze flicking toward Chad, but Mia couldn't bear it. She mumbled an excuse, "I need air," and fled, her heels unsteady as she pushed through the crowd. She stumbled onto the balcony, the night air cool against her flushed skin. The city sprawled below, a glittering escape she couldn't reach. Tears stung her eyes, but she blinked them back, gripping the railing. She'd been a fool to think she could belong here, to think Alex saw her as anything more than a pity project. The door clicked behind her, and she tensed as Alex stepped out, his expression unreadable. "You didn't have to run," he said, stopping a few feet away. "They're right," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I don't fit here. I never will." He closed the distance, his hand brushing her arm, firm but gentle. "They're wrong. And I don't give a damn what they think. You're worth 10 of them, Mia. You just don't see it yet." She looked up, his eyes locking with hers, and something shifted. A promise, a challenge, a spark she couldn't name. Before she could respond, a shadow moved near the door, Lauren watching, her phone in hand as she typed furiously. Alex didn't notice, but Mia did, a chill creeping up her spine. "Come back inside," he said, offering his arm. "Let's show them you're not going anywhere." Mia hesitated, torn between the warmth of his words and the venom waiting beyond the glass. She took his arm, her heart pounding, but as they stepped back into the gala, a text buzzed on her phone. Unknown number. "You'll regret this." The night stretched on, Alex by her side, his presence a shield against the whispers. They danced, her first time in years, his hand steady on her waist, his laugh low and genuine as she stumbled through the steps. She let herself believe, just for a moment, that this could be real. But the message burned in her pocket, a ticking clock she couldn't ignore. By midnight, the gala wound down, guests trickling out into the night. Alex walked her to the valet, his coat draped over her shoulders against the chill. "I'll see you Monday," he said, his tone softer than she'd ever heard it. "We've got work to do." She nodded, climbing into her car, but as he turned away, she caught a glimpse of someone in the shadows. Chad, his face twisted with something ugly, talking to a man she didn't recognize. The stranger nodded, slipping something into Chad's hand. Mia drove home, Alex's coat still warm around her, but the unease grew, a tangle of hope and dread. She'd crossed a line tonight, caught Alex's attention, defied the pack. But as she parked and glanced at her phone, another text lit up the screen. "He can't protect you forever." Mia's apartment was a sanctuary of quiet after the chaos of the gala, the hum of the refrigerator a steady pulse against the city's distant roar. She sank onto her thrift store couch, Alex's coat still draped over her shoulders, its faint scent of cedar and leather grounding her. The texts glowed on her phone screen, their words sharp as knives. "You'll regret this. He can't protect you forever." She stared at them until her eyes burned, then locked the device and tossed it onto the coffee table. Sleep came in fits, her dreams a jumble of flashing cameras, Lauren's smirk, and Alex's steady gaze. Monday morning dawned gray and heavy, the sky pressing down on the city like a lid. Mia arrived at Pinnacle early, her borrowed dress swapped for her usual blouse and skirt, the emerald gown folded neatly in a bag for Priya. The office buzzed with post-gala gossip, head swiveling as she walked to her cubicle. She kept her chin up, ignoring the stares, but the weight of the weekend clung to her like damp cloth. She was halfway through a stack of emails when Priya appeared, her grin wide. "You were the talk of the night, you know, dancing with Alex Bennett. People are losing it." Mia's stomach flipped. It wasn't like that. He was just being nice. "Nice?" Priya raised an eyebrow. "He doesn't do nice, he does strategy, and you, my friend, are on his radar." Before Mia could argue, a shadow fell over her desk. Alex's assistant, a wiry man named Julian, his tablet clutched like a shield. "Mr. Bennett wants you in his office. Now." The room went still, every eye tracking her as she stood, smoothing her skirt with shaky hands. Lauren's glare burned from across the floor, her lips a tight line. Mia followed Julian to the elevator, the ride to the penthouse suite, silent save for the hum of machinery. Her mind raced. Had she overstepped? Was this about the gala? The doors slid open and she stepped into a world of glass and steel. Alex's office, a fortress overlooking the skyline. He stood by the window, hands clasped behind his back, the city sprawling beneath him. "Mia," he said without turning, his voice calm but firm. "Sit." She perched on the edge of a leather chair, her pulse hammering. He faced her then, his blue eyes sharp, assessing. "I've got a project, a merger with Helix Corp, high stakes, tight deadline. I want you on it." Her breath caught. "Me? I'm just an intern." "You're not just anything," he said, leaning against his desk. "Your analysis is precise, your instincts are sharp. I need someone I can trust to handle the financial breakdown. This could make your career, or break it." Mia's mind spun. This was her shot, the kind of break she'd dreamed of. But doubt clawed at her. Chad's warning, Lauren's venom, the texts. "Why me?" she asked, her voice small. "There are people here with years of experience." "Because you see what they don't," he said, crossing his arms. "You're hungry, not complacent. And after Saturday, I know you've got backbone." She hesitated, the weight of his trust pressing against her fear. What if I mess it up? What if they're right about me? They're not, he said, his tone final. But it's your call. Take the night to think it over. I need an answer by tomorrow. The meeting ended, and Mia floated back to her cubicle in a daze, the offer a lifeline and a noose in one. Priya pounced the moment she sat down. Spill. What did he want? Mia recounted it, her voice low, and Priya's eyes widened. Mia, this is huge. You have to say yes. I don't know, she murmured, glancing at Lauren, who was watching from her glass-walled office, her phone pressed to her ear. It feels dangerous. Dangerous is good, Priya said. It means you're shaking things up. The day dragged on, tension coiling tighter with every hour. Mia buried herself in work, but the decision loomed, a storm cloud she couldn't outrun. By late afternoon, she'd made up her mind. She'd take the risk. She drafted an email to Alex, her finger hovering over send, when Chad sauntered over, his grin sharp. Heard you're Bennett's new pet project, he said, loud enough for the room to hear. Hope you don't choke on the pressure, Mia. Wouldn't want to embarrass him. She hit send, her jaw tight. I'll manage. He leaned closer, his voice dropping. You sure about that? Lauren's not happy, and when she's not happy, things get messy. Mia's stomach twisted, but she held his gaze. I'm not scared of her. You should be, he said, walking away with a laugh that lingered like smoke. That night, Mia paced her apartment, Alex's coat still on her chair, a talisman against the unease creeping in. She'd said yes, stepped into the fire. But as she poured a glass of water, her phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. Big mistake, intern. You're out of your league. She froze, the glass slipping from her hand and shattering on the floor. The shards glittered in the dim light, a jagged warning. Someone knocked on her door, sharp, insistent, and her heart leapt into her throat. She crept closer, peering through the peephole. No one. Just an empty hallway, a single envelope slid beneath the frame. With trembling hands, she opened it. A photo of her from the gala, laughing with Alex, a red X slashed across her face. Below it, scrawled in black ink, back off or bleed. She stumbled back, her breath shallow, the room tilting. She was in too deep, and someone wanted her out, permanently. The next morning, Mia arrived at Pinnacle with the photo tucked in her bag, her resolve hardened. She wouldn't run. Not now. Alex met her in the boardroom, a stack of files spread across the table. You're in, he said, a rare smile tugging at his lips. Let's get to work. They dove into the Helix merger, hours blurring as they dissected financials, strategized timelines, and mapped risks. Alex was relentless, pushing her to think bigger, sharper, but his praise was steady. That's it, Mia. You're nailing this. Their chemistry crackled, a rhythm building between them, trust weaving through every exchange. By midday, the team expanded, senior analysts joining, their skepticism palpable but muted under Alex's command. Mia held her own, her voice steady as she presented her projections. Alex watched, pride flickering in his eyes, and for the first time she felt like she belonged. But the peace shattered that afternoon. Lauren burst into the boardroom, her face a mask of urgency. Alex, we've got a problem. The Helix financials Mia submitted, they're wrong. Off by millions, it's a disaster. Mia's blood ran cold. That's impossible. I triple-checked them. Alex's gaze swung to her, then to Lauren. Show me. Lauren slapped a printout on the table, numbers circled in red, errors Mia hadn't made. This came from her system. She's tanking us. Mia's hands shook as she pulled up her files. The data was altered, subtle shifts, but enough to ruin the deal. Someone changed this. It wasn't me. Alex's jaw clenched, his voice low. Who had access? Before Mia could answer, Chad slipped in, his expression smug. Maybe she's not as smart as you think, boss. Mistakes happen. The room buzzed, doubt creeping in, and Mia's chest tightened. She'd been set up, Lauren and Chad, a calculated strike. Alex studied the printout, then her screen, his silence deafening. This wasn't an accident, he said finally, his eyes locking on Lauren. Someone's playing games. Lauren flinched, but her voice was steady. I'm just reporting what I found. Mia's mind raced. The photo, the texts, the sabotage. It was all connected. She met Alex's gaze, her voice trembling but firm. I didn't do this. I swear, he nodded, a flicker of trust holding. I believe you. We'll fix it. Together. But as the team dispersed, Lauren lingered, her whisper cutting through the air. You're done here, Mia. Enjoy your fall. Mia's phone buzzed in her pocket, another message. Next time, it's not just numbers. Attached was a photo of her car, parked in the garage, its tires slashed. She gripped the table, her world tilting. Alex was at her side, his hand on her shoulder. What's wrong? She showed him the screen, her voice breaking. They're not stopping. His face darkened, a storm brewing in his eyes. They've picked the wrong fight. Mia sat rigid in the boardroom, the slash-tire photo still glowing on her phone as Alex's hand lingered on her shoulder, a steady anchor in the chaos. The air was thick with tension, the sabotaged Helix merger files spread across the table like a crime scene. Lauren had slunk out, her parting whisper a venomous promise, but Chad lingered by the door, his smug grin a taunt Mia couldn't unsee. Alex's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts, low and resolute. We're not letting this stand. You're not alone in this. She nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. I just don't understand why they'd go this far. They're scared, Alex said, his eyes narrowing as he studied the altered numbers. You're a threat to their little kingdom. But we'll turn it around. Starting now. The rest of the day blurred into a frenzy of damage control. Alex pulled in IT to trace the file changes, his authority a force that silenced the room. Mia reworked the financials from scratch, her fingers flying across the keyboard, fueled by a mix of fear and defiance. By nightfall, they had a clean set of projections, tighter, sharper than before. Alex leaned over her shoulder, scanning the screen. This is better than the original. You've got a gift, Mia. Her chest warmed at his words, but the photo in her bag gnawed at her. Thanks. I just hope it's enough. It will be, he said, straightening. We present to Helix tomorrow. You're leading it. Her stomach dropped. Me? I've never... You have, he interrupted, his tone firm. Every time you've stood up to them, every time you've pushed through, you're ready. Mia wanted to believe him, but as she drove home, her car towed and replaced with a rental courtesy of Alex, the weight of the next day pressed down. The envelope with the marked photo sat on her passenger seat, a silent passenger whispering doubt. She locked her doors twice that night, the city's hum beyond her window a restless lullaby. The Helix presentation loomed like a mountain as Mia stepped into Pinnacle the next morning, her borrowed heels clicking against the marble. Alex met her in the lobby, a coffee in hand, black, scalding, just how he liked it. He pressed it into her grip with a half smile. Fuel up. You're about to own that room. She took it, the heat seeping into her palms. What if they don't take me seriously? They will, he said, guiding her to the elevator. Because I do. The boardroom was a battlefield. Helix execs in crisp suits, their eyes skeptical. Pinnacle's team, a mix of allies and vipers. Lauren sat near the front, her posture perfect, her gaze a blade. Chad lounged beside her, twirling a pen like a weapon. Mia stood at the head, Alex at her side, and launched into the pitch. Her voice wavered at first, but as she hit the numbers, revenue forecasts, risk assessments, it steadied, growing stronger with every slide. Alex nodded subtly, a silent cheer. Halfway through, a Helix VP interrupted, his tone clipped. "These projections are aggressive. What's your basis?" Mia didn't flinch. 3 years of market trends, adjusted for their recent acquisition lag. "I've cross-checked every variable. It's solid." The VP leaned back, impressed. Alex's lips twitched, pride flickering. But then Lauren spoke, her voice honeyed. "Solid? Like the last set you submitted? We wouldn't want another oversight." The room tensed, murmurs rippling. Mia's pulse spiked, but Alex stepped in, his tone ice. "That was handled. Mia's work is flawless now. Let's move on." The presentation ended with cautious applause from Helix, a handshake sealing the deal's next phase. Mia exhaled, relief flooding her, but as the room cleared, Lauren brushed past, her whisper sharp. "One win doesn't save you." The weeks that followed were a grueling marathon. The Helix merger demanded late nights, endless revisions, and Mia threw herself into it, Alex her constant shadow. He became more than a boss, a mentor, breaking down corporate chess moves, teaching her to read people, not just numbers. One evening, hunched over takeout in his office, he pushed a container of dumplings her way. "You're too hard on yourself, you know that?" She poked at the food, a wry smile tugging at her lips. "Habit. When you're the fat intern, you learn to overcompensate." He set his chopsticks down, his gaze steady. "You're not that anymore. You're the woman who's keeping this deal alive. Own it." Her throat tightened, his belief a lifeline she clung to. "I'm trying. It's just, they won't let me forget." "Then make them," he said, leaning closer. "You're stronger than they'll ever be." Their talks grew deeper, trust threading through every word. He told her about his foster days, the hunger that drove him. She shared her mom's quiet courage, the diner grease stains on her childhood. The lines blurred, mentor, friend, something more. But the project kept them focused, a shared mission against the chaos. Yet the obstacles multiplied. Files went missing from Mia's desk, replaced with corrupted versions. Deadlines shifted without warning, whispered rumors blaming her incompetence. One morning she found her cubicle trashed, papers shredded, Harold the plant snapped in half. A note taped to her monitor. "Quit while you're ahead," she showed Alex, her hands trembling. He studied the wreckage, his jaw tight. "This ends now. I'm moving you upstairs, my floor. They can't touch you there." The move was a statement, her new desk outside his office, a glass-walled fortress. It fueled the gossip, Lauren's glare a constant shadow, but Mia thrived under Alex's wing. He drilled her on strategy, praised her wins, and when she faltered, he steadied her. "Mistakes don't define you," he said one night, the city lights glinting beyond his window. "How you recover does." But the pressure didn't relent. A key Helix meeting loomed, and Mia prepped relentlessly, her confidence blooming. The night before, Alex found her in the break room, staring at a vending machine. "Nervous?" he asked, slipping a coin in for her. "Terrified," she admitted, clutching the soda he handed her. "What if I blow it?" "You won't," he said, his hand brushing hers. "You've got this, and I've got you." The moment hung, electric, but a crash from the hall broke it. Chad, accidentally, knocking over a chair, his laugh sharp. "Oops, hope I didn't scare you, Mia." She stiffened, but Alex's voice was steel. "Walk away, Chad. Now." Chad sauntered off, but the next day the sabotage struck harder. Minutes before the Helix meeting, Mia's laptop froze, her presentation gone. Panic clawed at her as she rebooted, Alex at her side, his calm a lifeline. "We'll fix it," he said, calling Ite. They recovered it just in time, but the damage was done. Her nerves rattled, her voice shaky as she began. She pushed through, the room a blur, Alex's nod her anchor. Helix approved the next phase, but as applause faded, Chad leaned close, his breath hot. Lucky save. Won't happen twice. That night, alone in her new office, Mia found a USB drive on her desk, unlabeled, ominous. She plugged it in, her screen flashing to life with a video. Grainy footage of her and Alex, laughing over takeout, his hand on hers. A voiceover hissed, "The intern's sleeping her way up." Proof's coming. Her blood ran cold. This wasn't just sabotage, it was war. She yanked the drive out, her hands shaking, and called Alex. He answered on the first ring. "Mia, what's wrong?" "Someone's watching us," she whispered, voice breaking. "They've got footage. They're going to ruin me." His silence was heavy. Then, "I'm coming to you. Don't move." As she waited, her phone buzzed. Another text. Tick-tock. "Your fairy tale ends soon." Attached was a photo of her apartment door, taken from inside. She dropped the phone, terror gripping her. They'd been in her home, and they weren't done. Have you ever had a mentor who changed your life? Share your experiences. Below. Mia's hands still trembled as she clutched the phone, the photo of her apartment door searing into her mind. The office lights buzzed overhead, casting her new desk in a stark glow. Alex burst through the door minutes later, his coat slung over his arm, his face etched with urgency. "Show me," he said, his voice a low command. She handed him the USB drive and her phone, her breath shallow as he watched the video and scrolled through the texts. His jaw tightened, a muscle ticking beneath the surface. "This isn't just harassment," he said, setting the devices down. "This is a threat. We're taking it to security, tonight." "They were inside my place," Mia whispered, her voice cracking. "What do they want?" "To break you," he said, meeting her gaze. "But they won't. I won't let them." He called in Pinnacle's head of security, a no-nonsense woman named Carla, who swept the office with a team, confiscating the drive and promising a full sweep of Mia's apartment. Alex stayed close, his presence a shield as Mia recounted every incident. The notes, the trashed cubicle, the slashed tires. Carla's pen scratched furiously, her expression grim. "We'll trace this," she said, "but you need to watch your back until we do." That night, Alex drove Mia home, insisting she crash at a company safe house, a sleek loft downtown, until her place was cleared. "I'm not taking chances," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. She nodded, too rattled to protest, and as they pulled up to the loft, he turned to her. "You're not alone in this, Mia. I mean that." She managed a small smile, exhaustion tugging at her. "I know. Thanks." The Helix project roared forward, a beast of deadlines and pressure, but Mia refused to buckle. Alex kept her on his floor, their days a blur of strategy sessions and late-night takeout. The threats lingered, a shadow over every triumph, but his mentorship sharpened her edge. One evening, as rain streaked the penthouse windows, he slid a stack of reports her way. "You're running point on the next investor call. Walk me through it." She hesitated, then launched in, her voice steady as she dissected risks and gains. He leaned back, arms crossed, a grin tugging at his lips. "You're a natural. They won't know what hit them." Her cheeks warmed. "Only because you keep pushing me." "Nah," he said, tossing her a fortune cookie. "You've got the fire. I'm just fanning it." Their dynamic shifted subtly, less mentor and student, more partners in the fray. But the bullies didn't relent. Lauren cornered Mia in the break room one morning, her voice a hiss. "Enjoying your little throne up there? It's built on sand, sweetie." Mia gripped her coffee mug, her spine stiff. "I'm not here to play your games, Lauren." "Good," Lauren shot back, stepping closer. Because you're losing. The next day, Mia found her office chair smeared with ketchup, a sticky humiliation. She cleaned it in silence, Alex's voice echoing from a call in his office, oblivious. Chad sauntered by, smirking. Rough day, princess. Better get used to it. She didn't tell Alex, not yet. She'd handle it, prove she could stand on her own. But the pressure mounted, a vice tightening with every jab, every glitch in her work blamed on her. The investor call loomed, and she prepped relentlessly, Alex at her side, his faith unwavering. The call went off like a dream, investors nodding, questions fielded with precision. Afterward, Alex clapped her shoulder, his grin wide. Told you, you're unstoppable. She laughed, a rare lightness bubbling up. I think I'm starting to believe you. Then let's celebrate, he said, grabbing his coat. Dinner. My treat. Their first real date was quiet, a hole-in-the-wall Italian place, red checkered tablecloths, and candlelight flickering in wine bottles. Mia fidgeted with her napkin, the weight of the day slipping away as Alex poured her a glass of red. To surviving, he said, clinking her glass. To fighting, she countered, sipping, the wine warm on her tongue. They talked, really talked, about everything but work. He told her about his first car, a rust bucket he'd rebuilt at 16. She shared her mom's secret lasagna recipe, the one she'd never mastered. Laughter came easy, his deep chuckle blending with her softer one, and when he reached for her hand across the table, she didn't pull away. You make me believe in myself, Alex, she said later, the city lights blurring past as he drove her home. I didn't think that was possible. He parked, turning to her, his eyes soft. You're the one doing it, Mia. Just trust yourself. She leaned closer, her heart pounding, and he met her halfway. A kiss, tentative at first, then deepening, a promise in every touch. When they pulled apart, breathless, he grinned. Been wanting to do that for a while. Me too, she admitted, her smile shy. Their bond grew, stolen moments between meetings, dinners that stretched into midnight, walks through the city where his arm stayed around her. One night at his penthouse, they danced to a scratchy vinyl record, her head against his chest. You're changing everything, he murmured, his breath warm against her hair. So are you, she whispered back, the world shrinking to just them. But the fairy tale cracked. At work, whispers turned to accusations. Lauren strode into a team meeting, her voice loud. Mia's been fudging numbers again. I found discrepancies in the Helix budget. Convenient now that she's cozying up to the boss. The room froze, eyes darting to Mia. She stood, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. That's a lie. I've triple-checked every line. Lauren slapped a folder down, pages marked with red. Then explain this. Alex stepped forward, his expression thunderous. Enough, Lauren. I've seen Mia's work. It's clean. This smells like sabotage, and I'm done with it. He turned to the team, his voice cutting. Mia's integrity isn't up for debate. Anyone who's got proof, bring it. Otherwise, shut it down. Lauren faltered, her mask slipping, but Chad piped up, smug. Maybe she's just good at covering tracks. Alex rounded on him, eyes blazing. You're on thin ice, Chad. Push it and you're out. The meeting dissolved, but the damage lingered. Doubt seeded, trust frayed. Mia retreated to her desk, Alex following. They're desperate, he said, his hand on hers. They see you rising and they hate it. I just want to do my job, she said, voice small, not fight a war. You're winning it anyway, he replied, squeezing her hand, and I'm with you. That night, curled on his couch, she traced the scar on his eyebrow, her voice soft. Why do you believe in me so much? Because I see you, he said, pulling her close. The real you. And she's incredible. Their kiss was fierce, a defiance against the storm, but as she drifted to sleep in his arms, her phone buzzed on the table. She didn't see it. Another text, another photo. Her and Alex, tonight, through his window. Time's up, princess. The next morning, Pinnacle hummed with tension. Mia and Alex tackled the Helix endgame, final approvals, signatures looming. She thrived under his guidance, her confidence a quiet fire, but the threats escalated. A package arrived at her desk, her mom's old recipe card, stolen from her apartment, torn in half. A note, "You're next," she showed Alex, tears brimming. "They're in my life, Alex. Everywhere." He pulled her into his office, shutting the door. "We're ending this. Carla's close. Cameras caught Chad near your place. We've got him." Relief warred with dread as they prepped for the final Helix pitch. Mia led, her voice ringing clear, Alex's pride a steady pulse beside her. The deal closed, cheers, handshakes, but as they celebrated, Carla burst in, her face grim. "We've got bigger problems. It's not just Chad. Lauren's been leaking to a rival firm, and they've got footage, enough to tank you both." Mia's knees buckled, Alex catching her. "What footage?" "Everything," Carla said. "They're framing it as a scandal. Mia trading favors for power." The room spun, Alex's arm tightening around her. "They won't win," he growled. "We fight back, together." But as they faced the fallout, Mia's phone lit up. A video link sent to the whole company. Her voice, Alex's, private moments twisted into lies. The screen cut to Lauren's face, smiling. Checkmate. Mia's world tilted as the video looped on her phone, Lauren's smug checkmate echoing in her ears. The footage, private moments with Alex, stolen and spliced into a damning lie, spread like wildfire through Pinnacle's servers. Inbox pings a chorus of chaos. She stood frozen in Alex's office, his arms still around her, the air thick with the wreckage of their victory. The Helix deal was signed, but this scandal threatened to unravel it all. Alex snatched the phone, his face a mask of fury as he muted the sound. "This isn't over," he said, his voice a low growl. "They've crossed a line, and I'll bury them for it." Mia's knees trembled, but she straightened, wiping her eyes. "They're trying to ruin me. Us. How do we fight this?" "Head on," he said, pulling her close. "Carla's got Chad pinned. Lauren's next. We've got the truth on our side." She nodded, clinging to his resolve, but the sting of betrayal burned deep. That night at the safe house they sat shoulder to shoulder on the couch, the city's glow filtering through the blinds. Alex traced circles on her hand, his voice soft. "I meant what I said, Mia. You're incredible. This doesn't change that." She leaned into him, her whisper shaky. "You make me feel like I can do anything. Even this." He tilted her chin up, his kiss fierce and steadying. "You can. We will." Their bond deepened in the quiet, shared coffee at dawn, laughter over takeout, his steady presence a lifeline. One evening, strolling through a park, fairy lights twinkling overhead, she stopped him, her hands in his. "You've changed my life, Alex. I was drowning, and you pulled me up." He smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You were never drowning. You just needed to see your own strength." The moment was perfect, until Monday crashed in. At Pinnacle, the video's fallout hit hard. Investors called, furious. The board demanded answers. Lauren strutted through the office, her confidence ablade, while Chad avoided Mia's gaze, his bravado dimmed. Then, during a tense meeting, Lauren struck again, slamming a tablet on the table. "Mia's been funneling funds, proofs in the accounts. She's a fraud." Mia's heart stopped, the room spinning as eyes turned to her. "That's not true," she said, her voice steady despite the panic clawing at her. "I've never touched a dime." Alex stood, his tone lethal. Show me the evidence, Lauren. Not doctored garbage, real proof. Lauren hesitated, then slid the tablet over. Alex scanned it, his brow furrowing. This is a setup. These transactions trace back to your login, Lauren. Care to explain? The room gasped, Lauren's face paling. That's impossible. It's fact, Alex snapped, tossing the tablet back. You're done here. Security's on their way. Lauren bolted, but Carla intercepted her in the hall, cuffs clicking. Chad shrank in his seat, mumbling excuses, but Alex's glare silenced him. You're next if you don't talk, he warned. Mia exhaled, relief flooding her as Alex pulled her aside. You okay? Yeah, she said, squeezing his hand. Thanks to you. He grinned, fierce and proud. Told you. We fight together. The dust settled, but Mia's instincts screamed. Something bigger loomed. With Lauren gone and Chad on probation, Pinnacle felt eerily calm, a stillness that prickled her skin. She dove into the Helix files, cross-checking every detail, her gut telling her the sabotage ran deeper than petty revenge. Late one night, alone on Alex's floor, she cracked it. A hidden ledger buried in the system, siphoning funds to an offshore account labeled Eclipse. Her pulse raced as she traced it, millions drained from Pinnacle, funneled to a rival firm, Nexus Corp. The dates aligned with Lauren's leaks, Chad's threats, but the scope was massive, a corporate conspiracy to gut Pinnacle from within. She dug further, finding emails linking Nexus to Pinnacle staff, names she recognized, junior execs, IT techs, even the janitor who'd lingered too long near her desk. She called Alex, her voice urgent. We've got a problem, bigger than Lauren. Someone's trying to sink the company. He arrived in minutes, his face grim as she walked him through it. Eclipse, he muttered, studying the ledger. Nexus has been after us for years, but this is war. Who's behind it here? She asked, scrolling through names. These people, some of them worked with Lauren. Alex's jaw tightened. Keep digging. We need proof to take to the board. They worked through the night, piecing together a web of betrayal. Mia found a memo, Nexus promising bonuses to Pinnacle defectors, signed by a code name, Raven. Her stomach dropped as she cross-referenced logins. Raven's IP matched Pinnacle's network, someone high up. She showed Alex, her voice tight. This is an inside job. Someone you trust. He nodded, his eyes dark. We'll flush them out. But we need hard evidence, something undeniable. The next day, Mia played detective, planting fake files with trackers, watching who bit. Tension coiled tighter. Every glance from a coworker felt loaded, every meeting a minefield. She caught Chad whispering to a senior VP, Mark Hensley, a man Alex had mentored. Her gut twisted. Mark, with his easy smile and late-night strategy talks, a traitor. She tailed him discreetly, slipping into the server room after he left. There, on a terminal, she found it, Raven's login, tied to Mark's badge, downloading her bait. Her hands shook as she copied the proof, but as she turned to leave, the door clicked shut. Mark stood there, his smile gone, a flash drive in hand. Smart girl, he said, stepping closer. Too smart. Mia backed up, her heart pounding. Why, Mark? Alex trusted you. Trust doesn't pay, he sneered. Nexus does. You should have stayed in your lane. He lunged, but she dodged, clutching the drive as she bolted for the stairs. He chased, his footsteps thundering, and she burst into Alex's office, breathless. It's Mark. He's Raven. Alex leapt up, his face a storm as Mark stormed in, feigning calm. She's lying, Alex. She's the leak. Mia held up the drive, her voice steady. This says otherwise. Logan records, downloads. He's been selling us out. Alex snatched it, his eyes scanning, then locking on Mark. You son of a bitch. Mark smirked, unrepentant. You'll lose everything, Bennett. Nexus has the board in their pocket. Not yet, Alex said, dialing security. You're finished. Carla hauled Mark away, his curses echoing, but Mia's relief was short-lived. At home, she sifted through the drive's backups, her blood chilling, a photo of Alex and Mark, years ago, arms around each other, captioned, "Brothers for Life." A note beneath, "He'll never see it coming." She stared, dread pooling. Mark wasn't just a traitor, he was family to Alex, a wound deeper than business. And as she clutched the evidence, her phone buzzed, a final text. "You found the pawn. Now face the king." Mia's hands trembled as she clutched the drive, the photo of Alex and Mark, brothers for life, burning into her mind. The text, "You found the pawn. Now face the king," pulsed like a heartbeat, a riddle she couldn't shake. Pinnacle's glass walls felt like a cage as she paced Alex's office, waiting for him to return from security. Mark's betrayal was a gut punch, but the depth of it, his tie to Alex, the conspiracy's reach, hinted at a shadow far larger than one man. Alex stormed in, his face a storm of rage and hurt. "Mark's locked down. Carla's digging into his Nexus contacts. We've got him." Mia held up the drive, her voice tight. "It's more than Mark. Look at this. Brothers for life." He wasn't just a VP, Alex. He was family. Alex froze, taking the drive, his eyes scanning the photo. A flicker of pain crossed his face, raw and unguarded, before hardening into steel. "We were foster kids together. He was my brother until he wasn't. I never thought he'd go this far." "There's more," she said, showing him the text. "The king. Someone's still out there, pulling strings." He nodded, jaw tight. "Nexus isn't done. We need to hit back, hard." They dove into the evidence, tracing Mark's moves, emails, payments, a trail leading to a Nexus exec, Victor Kane, a shark who'd clashed with Alex years ago. But the deeper they dug, the messier it got. Pinnacle's board was compromised, 3 members tied to Kane's payroll, poised to vote Alex out at the next meeting. Mia found a leaked memo. Nexus planned to gut Pinnacle, sell its assets, and frame Alex for the collapse. "This is a takeover," she said, her voice rising. "They've been using Mark and Lauren, Chad, everyone, to weaken us from the inside." Alex slammed a fist on the desk, the sound sharp. "Then we expose them. Tomorrow's board meeting, we bring it all." The night blurred into a war room, coffee cups piling up, screens glowing with data. Mia crafted a presentation, her hands steady despite the exhaustion gnawing at her. Alex paced, barking orders to Carla over the phone, his trust in Mia a quiet fire between them. "You're leading this," he said, pausing beside her. "They'll hear it from you." Her stomach flipped. "Me? Alex, I'm—" "The one who cracked it," he cut in, his hand on her shoulder. "You've earned this." Dawn broke, gray and heavy as they prepped for battle. Mia's apartment sweep had turned up bugs, tiny cameras in her vents, proof the conspiracy had claws in her life. She shivered, but Alex's arm around her steadied her. "They're scared of you," he said. "That's why they're doing this." "Then let's scare them back," she replied, her voice firm. The boardroom hummed with tension as Pinnacle's elite filed in, suits crisp, faces guarded. Mia stood at the head, Alex beside her, the drive's contents loaded on a screen. Lauren and Chad slunk in, reinstated on probation, their smirks faltering as Mia met their eyes. The board chair, Evelyn Pierce, a steely woman with a hawkish gaze, rapped her knuckles. "Let's get to it, Bennett." "What's this emergency?" Alex nodded to Mia. She took a breath, her voice ringing clear. "Pinnacle's under attack, not from outside, but within. A conspiracy to dismantle us, led by Nexus Corp and executed by traitors here." Gasps rippled as she clicked through slides. Mark's ledger, Nexus payments, the board's dirty trio, Hensley, Patel, and Ortiz. They've drained millions, sabotaged deals, and framed Alex. I've got proof, logins, memos, footage. It's all here. Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Bold claims, Miss Torres. Where's your evidence? Mia plugged in the drive, projecting Mark's confession, taped by Carla, his voice admitting Kane's orders. Then the bombshell. Lauren's emails to Nexus, Chad's bank deposits, their hands deep in the scheme. The room erupted, board members shouting, Lauren leaping up. She's lying. She faked this, Chad sneered. Yeah, she's desperate, sleeping her way up, now spinning stories. Mia's blood boiled, months of their venom flashing through her. She slammed her hands on the table, silencing the chaos. I am not who you think I am. I'm not your punching bag, your joke, or your scapegoat. I'm here to stay, and I will succeed, despite you. Her words hung, a thunderclap, and Alex stepped forward, his voice ice. She's right, and you're out. Both of you, fired, effective now. Carla, take them. Security hauled Lauren and Chad out, their protests shrill. Evelyn stood, her tone clipped. Hensley, Patel, Ortiz, resign or we prosecute. Bennett, you've got our backing. Clean this up. The traitor slunk away, defeated, but Mia's pulse still raced. As the room cleared, Alex pulled her aside, his grin fierce. You owned that. I knew you could. She exhaled, shaky but proud. I couldn't have without you. They celebrated that night, wine on his balcony, the city sprawling below. But as she laughed at his terrible dance moves, a memory nagged, something he'd said weeks ago. You've got backbone. I knew it from day one. It clicked, sharp and sudden. She set her glass down, her voice quiet. Alex, how long did you know about the bullying? He froze, his smile fading. What do you mean? Lauren, Chad, the jabs, the sabotage. You saw it, didn't you? Before the gala, before any of this. He sighed, running a hand through his hair, guilt shadowing his eyes. Yeah, I knew. Not the full scope, but enough. I heard the whispers, saw how they treated you. Her chest tightened, hurt blooming. Why didn't you stop it? Because I needed you to fight, he said, stepping closer. I saw your potential, Mia, raw, unshakable, but you had to see it too. If I'd stepped in, you'd never have owned your strength. She pulled back, anger flaring. So you let me suffer? To prove a point? No, he said, his voice raw. I let you rise. Every time they hit you, you got stronger. I hated it, but I believed in you more. Tears stung her eyes, the truth a jagged pill. You could have told me. I should have, he admitted, reaching for her hand. I'm sorry. I thought I was building you up, not breaking you. She let him hold her, the fight draining out. I did get stronger, but it hurt, Alex. I know, he murmured, pulling her close. Never again. We're a team now, no secrets. The moment hung, fragile but real, their bond tested and remade. But as she leaned into him, her phone buzzed on the table, a new email. Subject, you missed the real king. Attached was a grainy photo, Evelyn Pierce, shaking hands with Victor Kane, time-stamped yesterday. Mia's breath caught, her voice a whisper. It's not over. Alex's eyes darkened, his grip tightening. Then we finish it, together. Mia's pulse thundered as she stared at the photo, Evelyn Pierce, Pinnacle's board chair, shaking hands with Victor Kane, the Nexus mastermind. The timestamp, yesterday, mocked her victory over Lauren, Chad, and Mark. Alex's arm tightened around her on the balcony, the city's glow dimming under the weight of this new betrayal. Evelyn, he muttered, his voice a low growl. She played us all. We've got to stop her, Mia said, pulling back to meet his gaze, her resolve hardening. The board's on your side now, let's use it. He nodded, a spark of determination igniting. Tomorrow we take her down. No more shadows. Sleep eluded them that night, their minds racing as they planned. Mia sifted through the drive's backups, finding crumbs, Evelyn's encrypted emails to Kane, veiled threats about cleaning house. Alex called Carla, her voice crackling through the speaker. "I'll pull footage, tap my sources. If Evelyn's dirty, we'll nail her." By dawn, they had a skeleton of proof, enough to rattle the board, not enough to convict. Mia's hands shook as she dressed, simple blouse, borrowed confidence from Alex's steady presence. "We'll finish the Helix pitch first," he said, adjusting his tie. "Then we spring this. Timing's everything." The boardroom buzzed with anticipation as Mia launched into the Helix finale. Months of sweat, sabotage, and triumph distilled into crisp slides. Her voice rang clear, every number a testament to her grit. Alex stood beside her, his pride a quiet hum, and when she closed with projected billions in revenue, the room erupted in applause. Evelyn clapped too, her smile tight, unaware of the noose tightening. As the cheers faded, Alex took the floor, his tone shifting. "One more item. Pinnacle's future isn't just about profit, it's about trust, and we've got a breach." Mia clicked the projector, Evelyn's photo with Kane glowing large. Gasps rippled as she spoke, her voice steady. "Victor Kane's been bleeding us dry with help from within. Evelyn Pierce has been his conduit. Emails, meetings, a plan to sell us out." Evelyn leapt up, her face a mask of outrage. "This is slander. You've got no proof." "We've got enough," Alex shot back, tossing the drive onto the table. "Emails, timestamps, Carla's pulling the rest. Resign, Evelyn, or we drag this public." The board turned on her, voices rising. Hensley's replacement, a wiry man named Torres, slamming his fist. "You've jeopardized everything. Step down now." Evelyn's mask cracked, her glare venomous as she stormed out, security trailing. Mia exhaled, her knees weak, but Alex's hand on her back steadied her. "You did it," he whispered, his grin fierce. "We did it." The fallout was swift. Evelyn's resignation hit the news, Nexus reeling as Carla's team uncovered bank trails tying Kane to her accounts. Pinnacle's board, shaken but loyal, gave Alex free rein to rebuild. He didn't waste it, firing complicit staff, hiring fresh faces, and pulling Mia into every decision. "You're my right hand," he told her one night, poring over reforms in his office. "This place changes with us." She smiled, exhaustion mingling with pride. "No more interns getting crushed." "Never," he said, his hand finding hers. "We rewrite the rules, together." Their bond deepened, a quiet strength forged in fire. One evening, as snow dusted the city, Alex took her to the rooftop of Pinnacle, the skyline glittering below. He dropped to one knee, a ring glinting in his hand, a simple band etched with a helix spiral. "Mia, you've turned my world upside down. Marry me?" Her breath caught, tears brimming as she laughed. "Yes, God, yes." He slid the ring on, pulling her into a kiss that tasted of promise, the cold forgotten. They wed months later, a small ceremony in a loft overlooking the river, Priya beaming as maid of honor, Carla toasting with whiskey. Mia wore emerald, her gala color, and Alex couldn't stop grinning, his vows raw. "You're my strength, my home. I'll fight for you always." She echoed him, her voice steady. "You saw me when I couldn't. I'm yours forever." Pinnacle transformed under their reign. Mia, no longer the fat intern, became a force, VP of strategy, her name on every memo, her story whispered in break rooms. She launched a mentorship program, pulling interns from the margins, her office a haven for the overlooked. Alex backed her, his faith unshakable, and together they rooted out the old guard's venom, building a culture of grit and grace. One afternoon, as Mia led a workshop, teaching resilience, sharing her scars, A young intern approached, her voice shy. "You're why I applied here. I was bullied too. You showed me I could fight." Mia's throat tightened, her smile soft. "You've got it in you. Just don't stop." The girl nodded, eyes bright, and Mia saw herself. Raw, unbroken, rising. Word spread. Articles dubbed her the intern who conquered, her journey a beacon for anyone clawing through adversity. Alex framed the first clipping, hanging it in their home. A sleek brownstone they'd bought, Harold the plant thriving on the sill. Their nights were quiet now, dinners with laughter, plans for a future beyond Pinnacle. One evening, curled on their couch, Alex traced her ring. "You're my everything, you know that." She nestled closer, her voice warm. "And you're mine. We made it." The Helix deal soared, Pinnacle's stock climbing, but the real win was them. Two souls who'd fought the dark and won, their love a light that burned steady. Mia's past, once a weight, became her power, inspiring a ripple she'd never imagined. Hey, incredible viewers! Mia's journey from bullied intern to billionaire's bride is complete. What lesson hit you hardest? Share below. Let's talk. You've got the power to change your story, just like she did. See you in the next adventure.